most important classwork assignments that you will do will be your time cards. You will have to do this every month, and you will turn in the previous month's time for this month. So in other words, if I were doing August pay time cards, I would turn it in by September 10th. But to access this, you are going to click on classwork up at the top. It is always going to be at the top of the page. Now yours looks different than mine. The first section up here are all the documents that you need for the class, and I haven't completed them all, so that'll be different than what's on your screen. But then you will have a section called Time Cards Due Monthly on the 10th. Time cards due on the 10th every month. In there, you will see the assignment information, the instructions, but I'm going to go ahead and put a video down here at the bottom, this video, so that you can see it. So you're going to click on the 2021 time cards, WBL time cards. Now this automatically puts a copy. It automatically makes everybody a copy. And it will have your name up here at the top in front of your information. Now you will use this same document every single month. You will submit the document, and then I will return it to you, and then the next month you will resubmit the same thing. Now, you will only have to do this information on the overview tab down here at the bottom. You will only have to do that one time. So we're going to go ahead and type in your name up here, and you would put your name. So I'm going to say that my name is Jane Doe. I am graduating in the year of 2021. Now, later on, I will tell you to go back and put a classification, and I will tell you what your classification is. You will either be a youth apprenticeship, an internship, or an ESD, which is an essential skills student. And you will have a pathway over here that I will help determine later on if you are classified as ag, business, education, engineering, healthcare, academics, or fine arts. But at this time, we're going to leave those be, and we're going to go ahead and go over to August. When we go to August 2020, you'll see that your name is automatically here, but your employment is not. I am going to pretend like I work at ABC Incorporated. Now, I want to make sure that I type that in correctly and I need to have a comma after ABC because ABC Incorporated does have a comma after it. And the reason why I'm saying you want to make sure that this is in correctly, because if you go back over here to your overview page, which I don't know if I can get to it because of this. Okay, go to my overview page. Then you will see that ABC Inc. shows up in all the months unless I change jobs. And I'll explain that in just a second, but go back to August. So you've got your name that was typed in on the overview page, and your company site you type in there. And if you work at two companies, you would just put a slash behind it and say that I work at XYZ company. All right, so if I work at two companies, that's what I would put. Go back to overall, and you see I've got two companies there. If I only work at one, you leave it as just one. Now, you have two in and outs. The first in and out is for the first company. The second in and out is for a second company. Or if you only work for one company, this could be in the morning time and in the afternoon, or if you go to lunch, or you work a split shift, like you work from 8 in the morning till 10 in the morning, then you go back from 11 to 12 in the morning. So this would be the first time you clock in that day. This would be the second time you clock in. All right. So I'm going to pretend like on Saturday, August 1st, I worked from 8, and I have to type a colon, space AM until 9:30 a.m. Now notice when I do that, it comes up here and tells me I've worked 1.5 hours and my pay rate was $7.25. Now you may get a different pay rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the bottom left-hand corner, look at all the tabs, and go all the way to the bottom to pay rate. We are going to put in the first date of the year and what your pay rate is. Now, most people make $7.25, but some of you are lucky enough to make more. While we're on this page, we're going to go ahead and look at this information right here in the middle. And this is if you are released for 1 block, 2 blocks, or 3 blocks. If you're released for 1 block, then you have to work at least 125 hours this semester. If you were released for 2 blocks, you have to work for 264. If you were released for 3 blocks, you have to work for 396. So pay attention to which one you are. I'm going to pretend like I'm only getting out 1 block, so I know I have to work 125 hours. Now I'm going to go back to August. Oh, before I go back to August, if you get a pay raise at any time during this year, you come back to this pay rate page and you put in the date that you get the pay raise and what your pay raise is. And it will automatically do the math for you throughout the whole thing. Okay, so I'm working for a semester. Now in January, I'll have to come back to this page and look, the times are different because we're not having to have as many class days. So and that's because I've given you 7 days of class that you're going to meet with me for first semester and 5 days of class that you're going to meet with me for second semester. Not quite sure when we're meeting, but those are the dates. So right now, I'm going back up. For one release block, I'm going to do 125 hours. So I have to go back to August. Up here where it says semester hours needed, what did I say? 125. Because I am going to be released for 1 block. So I've put in my hours that are needed and my release block. Now, let's pretend like I got a pay raise and I didn't realize it. So I'm going to go back over here to the pay rate, and I'm really getting paid $8.25 an hour. So I put that in. I go back to August. And you see it says $8.25 now because it changed by me typing it on the pay rate tab. Okay, so I went into work at 8 o'clock this morning, got out at 9:30. But I also am going back to work this afternoon, so I'm going in at 3:15 p.m. and I'm getting off at 8. I got off at 8:05 p.m. Now, this is what you do after you have worked. So you can actually put the exact times of when you worked from the exact times from all the way down to the minute. So I got off, let's say I got off at 8:06 p.m. and I hit enter. Now what happens is it turns out and says that I worked 6.5 hours or 6 hours and 21 minutes that day at that rate and that pay. So up here at the top, my monthly hours I've worked already are 6 hours, and it's really 6.5 hours or whatever, it does it converts it to whole numbers. The monthly pay I have gotten already, which is gross pay, would be $52.39. I needed 28 hours this month, but now I only need 22 because I've already worked 6 because it's taken those numbers out. Year to date, I've worked 6 those numbers, but next month that number would carry over the month from the previous, and this is the year to date pay. So it would be all your months up to what you've done so far. So right now I know I have to still work 119 hours to get credit for this class. All right, so I'm gonna go down to the next day and I didn't work. So over here in the right hand column, in column J, I'm gonna put DNW. When I put in DNW, notice it turns red. So that means I did not work. Okay, so on Monday, I'm going back in and I'm typing in that I went in at 8 o'clock a.m. and I got off at noon. But instead of typing 12, I accidentally just typed in 12 like that. I'm sorry, 12 a.m. And you see that it's like, whoa, what happened there? Well, it's because 12 a.m. is midnight. So what it did is if you work over 8 hours a day, it's going to turn this section here yellow. And wait, I've probably done something wrong because most people don't work more than 8 hours a day. Now, if you work on the farm or something like that, you might on a Saturday work 12 hours. Or if you work at Wild Adventures or something like that, you may work 12 hours. But generally, this is just letting you know that you've done something wrong. And so you would need to come back to this cell and make sure that you type in that you got off at lunch instead. And then it would fix itself. All right, now let's pretend like the next day I typed it in and I put a space in front of the 0 and I did it. And it's going to say, whoops, there was a problem. So you're going to have to double check and make sure that you're typing it in correctly. Again, if you mess anything up, or if you accidentally type in a thing that automatically had you automatically had an error, or your times weren't showing up, you can always go back to the overall page and you can see the times that you're putting in for the whole month. It's all adding it up. You got ABC. Let's say that I started a new job. In September, I started a new job and I'm only working at 123 Company. If I go back to the overall page, you'll see now 123 Company replaces everything else. So it is most important not to mess with anything on here except for your name. It is most important not to mess with anything on this except for these two when you first do it in August. Every month after that, it's going to automatically have it in there and it's going to continue doing the math. If you have any questions whatsoever, please make sure that you feel free to come by my classroom and I will help you out. Now, once you have completed this, you must submit it by the 10th of every month. At the end of the, after you have submitted it, then you can go in and you can go to print. It will print out on one page. You will need to print it one page, and then on the 15th of every month, you will stick this with all your numbers in it and your employer's signature down here at the bottom. It will be printed out, and you can stick it in my box outside my back door. That way, it is a proof that you got paid by your employer for the hours that you're saying that you did. Again, if you have any questions after you've worked through this the first time, please make sure that you come by and see me, and I can help you out in any way. Thank you very much.